Though one might not want to hold an epistemic, deterministic approach to life, um, or an ontological deterministic way of looking at our existence down here, but one still has to tell himself, what way are we going to be saved by the ontology of our reality as to we knowing the end from how we currently are, or are we going to look towards the epistemic way of getting to judge ourselves? It remains a thing we have to tell ourselves. It remains a thing we must come to look for ourselves, in ourselves, and by ourselves. We must invest in education. We must tell ourselves that education, there need to be a state of emergency on the state of affairs of education. Most agriculture has not been given attention. Everybody wants to make money. Everybody wants to do this. Everybody is migrating to the city. Who farms for us? It is because people have just seen to it that, they cannot continue. We need to re-educate ourselves. We need to give ourselves a new orientation. We need to give ourselves new perspectives and tell ourselves, you know what? We are crumbling. We are falling. We are falling. And we cannot succeed if we continue to fall. And we cannot succeed if we continue like this. And we can only succeed if we come together as one and tell ourselves, we are Nigerians. We are brothers and sisters. Most Nigerians, the sad reality, would never know the cause of their health crisis before they die. Most Nigerians would never get to receive the necessary help they were ordinarily supposed to receive as a people before they die. Most Nigerians would never drink clean water before they get to die. They're always going to take water contaminated here and there, hoping that God come to save them, that God come to protect them, that God comes to guide them. I think that I've seen the rise of false prophets, the rise of false cleric here and there. The clergy back home has been nothing but inspiring. We've seen fraudulent individuals come up and tell the people things ordinarily they don't get to hear. I cringe whenever I hear people say, God spoke to me. God spoke to you. In which language? How? God spoke to you. Our levels of anthropomorphism goes beyond what I can really think about, and I cringe and I feel very bad. God told me, give $2,000, give 200,000, give 100,000 for your situation to get to change. And we find people down the road of becoming atheistic. We find people on the path so sad, on the path so annoying, on the path where they come to challenge the idea of God, the part where they come to challenge the idea of God, not necessarily because he exists or not, but because people have just given them reasons and put them on a path that will make them believe he doesn't exist. He exists or not is not the bone of contention down here. So we've seen people develop false hope. We've seen people sow false hope, false promises, and when these things don't get to come to pass, the people are blamed for it. The people are blamed for not having faith enough, the necessary faith they were supposed to use to be humans, to be good people. And so Nigeria continues to go down that particular line, that particular way it shouldn't ordinarily go. Nigeria continues to go down and down and down and down and down until it will collapse soon, until it will crumble soon. We are heading down that particular path, and And there's nothing that is pointing to the direction that anything can get better anytime soon. Though one might not want to hold an epistemic, deterministic approach to life, or an ontological deterministic way of looking at our existence down here, but one still has to tell himself, what way are we going to be saved by the ontology of our reality as to we knowing the end from how we currently are, or are we going to look towards the epistemic way of getting to judge ourselves? It remains a thing we have to tell ourselves. It remains a thing we must come to look for ourselves, in ourselves, and by ourselves. But for now, Nigeria should be our focus. Nigeria should be our concern. Nigeria needs good men. Nigeria needs good women. Nigeria needs saviors. Nigeria needs men and women ready to risk it. Nigeria needs people that can tell themselves, we need to succeed, and we need to succeed now. It is now or never. It is now or never again. Because sometimes we might just have betrayed ourselves irretrievably. Sometimes we might just have sold ourselves down that particular path, and we might not be able to come out of our situation. Not now, not in the near future. And so as we continue to hope that things get better, we need to own up to the responsibilities we've failed and the places we've actually not come to live up to expectation. We need to own up to our mistakes. We need to own up to the challenges that have become our life. We need to own up to our current realities. Nobody is killing anybody apart from we ourselves. Whatsoever foreign investors are down there doing, or whatsoever diplomatic entourage, diplomatic bodies back home are doing down there, is because to a large extent we have also allowed them. Not to undermine the powers that be in the world, not to undermine the hypocrisy of the politics being played both from the UN and from other bodies that claim to have Africa at heart, that claim to have Nigeria at heart. I'm not undermining them, but I'm saying a great chunk of what must be done must start from us. We must learn from Egypt. We must learn from China. We must learn from Japan. We must want to own up to our problems and say, nobody is coming to save us. We are the ones that can save ourselves. We are the ones that must save ourselves. We are the ones that must do things for ourselves if things ordinarily are meant to work. Outside of this, there's no salvation. Outside of this line of thought, with the current reality of the political space in our world, nobody is coming to save us. And until we try to save ourselves, and until we try to get out of the water, we labor in vain. Because nobody is coming to save us. It's that simple. Nobody is coming to save us.